President Lewis, Vice President Adamson, Leaders Gray and McQuillan, let me begin this evening by thanking you for the opportunity to come before this body to present the proposed budget for 2017. It's so good to see you all in person. I'm usually watching on Channel 16. 8 months ago, I asked all of you for your help in tackling the major challenges that plague our city, and I come before you tonight to thank this council for answering that call. With your help, we are attacking the root causes of violence in Indianapolis. With your help, we have begun demolishing more blighted homes in 7 months than in the previous 2 years. With your help, we ended a 35-year moratorium and began installing new streetlights throughout Indianapolis's neighborhoods. And with your help, we have launched the long overdue reform of our criminal justice system, pledging that we will not simply focus on constructing a bigger building, but that we will build a better system to keep our kids out of jail altogether. These things we have done, and we have done them together, passing real change with 18 votes and 19 votes and sometimes 20 votes or more. You have shown time and again that there are no divisive barriers before us that cannot be surpassed by those things that draw us together. So it is in that spirit that I come before you tonight to discuss perhaps the greatest barrier of all that stands before us on the path of progress: our city's financial health and well-being. The facts are clear and they are undeniable. In the decade since our state enacted property tax caps, Indianapolis has consistently operated under a structural deficit in which our expenses have outpaced our revenues. To cope, prior administrations sought creative ways to ensure that Indianapolis could afford and continue to grow even when we spent more than we were taking in. Our water company, the parking meter deal, they were one-time opportunities to bring in hundreds of millions of dollars to fill in the gap. The public was twice asked to shoulder an additional tax burden for our public safety efforts. And in recent years, our reserves have been tapped to ensure a fully funded budget. Now, whether you agreed or disagreed with any or all of these items, they were never anything more than short-term fixes to a long-term problem. Ladies and gentlemen of this great city-county council, tonight I present a proposed budget that does several important things. First, this budget does something unheard of in government today. It proposes spending less money than the year before. Let me say that again. This budget proposes spending less money than the year before. Second, this budget dramatically reduces our structural deficit to $23 million, effectively cutting in half the long-term fiscal challenge I set before you some 8 months ago. Third, this budget also reduces our dependence on reserves by nearly $18 million compared to last year. It restores the Fiscal Stability Fund to more than $79 million, and it preserves nearly $53 million in the city's rainy day fund. But this budget isn't just about reducing spending. It's also about ensuring that we are still able to do more with less on behalf of the taxpayers. That's why this budget funds 2 recruit classes, hiring 86 new IMPD officers next year, a net gain of 31 beat officers participating in our new community policing model. That's why this budget includes funding our newly created Office of Public Health and Safety, which will dedicate itself to addressing food deserts, food insecurity, and the critical need for reentry services. That's why this budget includes the Rubin Engagement Center, which will save taxpayers money by ensuring that we aren't just incarcerating those suffering from substance abuse and addictions over and over and over again. And that's why this budget moves our parks capital and maintenance funding out of the Department of Public Works and back where it belongs, in the parks budget, where we will invest $5 million more than last year to continue to strengthen our park system. And that is why our capital investment plan submitted with this budget will propose $200 million in infrastructure spending over the next 4 years. This plan will fix roads. It will build sidewalks, while also investing in the transportation infrastructure of the future with improved bikeability and improved walkability. But there are more steps to take before we ensure our fiscal stability. That's why tonight I am announcing that our administration will propose the reform of our pension plans for all new city employees starting next year, simplifying benefits for the next generation of public servants while saving taxpayers millions a year starting in 2017. But we're not stopping there. Tonight, I'm also announcing that beyond the budget that is submitted to you, my administration will be launching an effort to smart-size city government over the next calendar year. We're going to be taking a hard look at the executive branch, examining all city departments and services to see where efficiencies can be found and where bureaucracy can be cut. Now, I know that, for some, there is a one-size-fits-all solution to our city's fiscal challenges. Raise taxes first, ask questions later. In fact, I've had many people suggest to me that eliminating waste and inefficiency has just become a trite political phrase, void of meaning, void of purpose, void of reality. Well, I stand here tonight to say that they are wrong. That's taking the easy way out. And that isn't what this administration stands for. It will not be easy. I harbor no illusion. But together we can restore faith in city government. I know that we can do this together because we've done it together before. We have made hard choices over these past 8 months, and there will be more to make in the future. We have a responsibility that requires us to look beyond today, to look beyond ourselves, to ensure that the city that we pass to our children is not burdened with the prospect of insolvency. President Lewis, Vice President Adamson, Leaders Gray and McQuillan, members of the City-County Council all. Tonight, in submitting this budget, I discharge a fundamental duty of the office in which I serve. It is a budget that spends less than the one before it. It is a budget that cuts this city's structural budget deficit in half. It is a budget that makes fiscal responsibility a fiscal reality. It is a budget impartial to the expediency of political pandering by simply spending more and more and more. And so now, I offer it to you. Let us keep faith with the great people we have been elected to serve. I thank you.